Be sure to visit my Facebook group, HollywoodShono Gaming, for the latest gaming needs. Also, check out my Twitch at HollywoodShono and my HollywoodShono YouTube live streams for all premieres of past live streams on Twitch. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, HollywoodShono here, about to give you another Nintendo Switch video. Now in this video, I wanted to talk about 10 games that EA has produced that deserve a Nintendo Switch port. Now, there are some obvious mentions that are not on the list. For example, the Bard's Tale Ultima, I could definitely see coincided. Like, you have the Bard's Tale and you have Baldur's Gate. Both of those could compete with each other. I think that has a place on the Switch. But let's talk about some of the other franchises on the list. Alright, so the first game I want to talk about is the Dragon Age Origins series. Now, this series obviously has been around for 10 years, back in 2009. The series was amazing. It was like one of the best RPGs ever on the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC. And while, yes, you can play that on other platforms, the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 are legacy platforms. And not everybody owns a PC. A lot of people do own a Nintendo Switch. And this is where I feel that EA is missing the mark. Because all you have to do is offer the Dragon Age Origins Ultimate Bundle for, let's say, $40. It'll easily push 1 million copies, let me tell you. And probably port it from PC to the Switch. Port it in 720p, 60 frames a second. Or maybe 1080p docked and 720p undocked. And you have a big hit. I don't understand why EA is holding out on porting Switch games, as I feel they are really missing the ball on this one. This is one of the best RPGs that they produced, and one that they're definitely missing out on. Alright, and second up on my list is an absolute classic. This game originated years ago. Fun fact, it was the only game that I actually platinumed on the PlayStation Vita. I also played this on the PlayStation 3. I bought a copy of it on PC. Yes, I understand it's on mobile devices, and to my knowledge, it's free to play. Although you might have to pay for an expansion, but this was one of the original favorite games of all time. It was a tower defense game with zombies. Very beautifully done. We know that Plants vs. Zombies 2 does not. And we know that Plants vs. Zombies 2 does not have a console release. It's only on iOS and Android. And porting this one might make a little less sense. But we also have Garden Warfare and Garden Warfare 2 that could also see a release as well. And I think that people would buy it on the Switch, especially if they have offline modes that you can just play whenever. So this is a game that they're definitely missing the ball on, and they should totally bring this to the Switch. And now, the third of 10 games that I want to talk about, and that would be Madden Football. Now, we have the FIFA series on here. Obviously, the gameplay is not going to be quite as good on the Nintendo Switch. You're going to have to downplay the graphics quite a bit. This is taken from the Electronic Arts trailer, so thank you guys for showcasing this off. But this is a popular series, probably the most popular game in the US. I know that Europe has FIFA, so yeah. Why don't we put Madden on the Switch? I think it would be great. If they don't make it a dumbed-down port like FIFA, I could see this doing really well. The only football game we have is Mutant League Football, and let's face it, it's not the same as Madden. Get Madden on the Switch as quickly as possible. Alright, and number 4 on my list would have to be The Sims. It's a popular simulation game, probably even more popular than SimCity. And yeah, the argument behind this is, well, you can play it on PS4, you can play it on Xbox One, you can play it on PC. And yeah, a lot of people that do own a Switch also own a PS4 and Xbox One. I'm one of those people. I own both of those systems. But every time I see a Switch release, for example, I bought Doom exclusively on the Switch. I actually bought Skyrim for the 4th time, as I owned it on PS3, PS4, and PC. But I had no problem dropping $60 on Skyrim. The Sims is one of those games that you could definitely play again and again and again. And yeah, taking it on the go, maybe having certain features online. Yeah, put this on the Switch. Alright, and number 5 on the list of games that I would totally love to see on the Nintendo Switch is the Mass Effect series. Now, we're not talking about Andromeda. and any of the other games recently that have just been kind of a letdown. But I'm talking about Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. How cool would it be to be able to play all 3 of these games on the go? Sure, they could probably port it to iOS and Android, and it'd probably be a lot more cheaper. It'd probably make more sense. Hell, even a Mass Effect mobile type game would probably work really well. But Mass Effect, no doubt, was a great series of games from BioWare, and like Dragon Age, it needs to be on the Switch. It is a great series, and people would buy this game over just to be able to play it in their car, show it off at work. And yeah, it's just a great series. I could totally see this being on the Switch. Alright, now number 6 on the list is a total classic, and we're talking about NBA Jam. Now, we know that they've ported this game a couple of times, starting with the PlayStation 3. They also had a port on the Wii. But what if we could relive the glory days of NBA Jam Tournament Edition on the Nintendo Switch, or even modern consoles? I know that there's a mobile version of NBA Jam, and I've purchased it on Android, and I still do play it occasionally, especially when I'm showing off like my Logitech controller, or I'm showing off controllers. NBA Jam is one of those games that definitely work a lot better with a controller. But what if you could have some dream matchups in NBA Jam? Like, for example, you could have Stephon Curry versus Wilt Chamberlain. You could have Tim Duncan versus LeBron James. And how cool would it be to see any of them in their prime? What about Michael Jordan and Kevin Durant? How awesome would it be to actually have these types of matchups? Or even, you know, like College Slam, where you could create your own character. What if we could also edit teams, kind of like NBA Playgrounds, where you can just select 2 characters from any team and play against it? I could see a huge market out there, and the potential for DLC is endless. Like, you could probably charge $5 to put like 6 people on the roster, and people would buy the hell out of it. And even multiple versions of a team, like, for example, you put Michael Jordan on the Washington Wizards. You can even put Shaquille O'Neal on the Orlando Magic and the Los Angeles Lakers. And that's just a couple examples. You could have Dennis Rodman on the Pistons and the Bulls. What if you had a team around Dennis Rodman and both of them were on the same team? How awesome would that be? I really feel that EA is missing the ball on NBA Jam, because yeah, you could offer DLC that offers characters, and if you love the game and you keep it true to heart to the original NBA Jam, kind of like we see right here, that has the injury feature where people slow down when they take more falls to the ground, I think that would be great. And that's what I really loved about the tournament edition of NBA Jam, is that it rewarded you for shoving people on the ground, and it punished you if you fell too much. And I like that it actually had slowdowns. I think the tournament edition of NBA Jam was the best NBA Jam out there. The original NBA Jam was definitely a plus. And yeah, you could obviously modernize the graphics, kind of like NBA Playgrounds 2 has. But that's the closest thing to NBA Jam that we have. And yeah, nobody is going to sell a franchise like NBA Jam on the Switch. And yeah, it just had some fun codes. Obviously, Midway made it the best. Unfortunately, it tied into NetherRealm, and EA owns the rights to NBA Jam. But why not collab? You guys could easily make a game that would be fun and great. NBA Jam, definitely, probably my favorite game of all time on the list. And now, number 7 on the list, UFC on the Nintendo Switch. Now, this would obviously be a hard port to do. Again, you'd probably have to tone the graphics down, but I could see UFC definitely being sold on the Switch. But their argument to that is they have UFC Mobile, which actually generates them a ton of money and is a good game. But you can even port UFC Mobile to the Switch, maybe have cross-platform play where mobile and the Switch play together. Now, all of a sudden, you have an amazing game that you can take with you. Now, granted, if you have a phone, people are just going to prefer the phone. So, in hindsight, they could just say, hey, this game is not worth actually doing because you can already play it on your phone. I get that argument, but people would still play the full-blown console game on the Switch. Come on, EA. Now, number 8 on my list is probably a series that I'm not very familiar with, but over the last few years, Respawn and EA have made the Star Wars series which is absolutely amazing and a great series. This is a series of games that I could definitely see being made portable. And again, their argument is, well, you can just play it on PC. And yeah, it'll probably be a far better experience, but let's give the consumer an option of playing these games on the Switch and not just Xbox One, PS4, and PC. Let's give them a Switch option. Alright, and number 9 on my list would definitely have to be the Battlefield series. This is a series of games that I feel is far superior to Call of Duty, and one that is probably super difficult to do, but my question is, if Fortnite can do it, why can't Battlefield do it? Granted, you probably have to run the game in 720p, and we all know that the Frostbite engine does not play nicely with the Switch. However, there's no doubt that Battlefield is probably the best shooter series outside of possibly Borderlands, which is another series that needs to get ported over the Switch. But I could see this game doing really well, and even if they just stuck to 720p, 60 frames a second, you could also start young. Start with the Battlefield Bad Company series. People would still love to revisit this game for people that don't have a PS3 anymore, or even a PlayStation 2. Start with the older games. See what the interest is, and if it works out good, port Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, start porting the Battlefield games over to the Switch. I think that it would actually work really well because the single player campaign you could probably play offline. So if you are a Battlefield fan and you want to play on the go, well, load up the single player campaign. And also absent from this is Call of Duty, which again probably has the same argument. Well, people have a PS4, an Xbox One, or a PC. Why should we port it to the Switch? Well, if you make the game modes fun and you have an immense single player campaign, you could definitely make this work. And finally, number 10 on my list is Bejeweled. Bejeweled is one of the best puzzle games of all time. Well, again, the argument can be made, people have phones, so why should we put Bejeweled on a console? As they did this on PS3 and Xbox 360, I don't think it's sold as well. But you guys also have to remember, the Nintendo Switch, like the 3DS, has a touchscreen. So it's very easy to just play the game tapping on a screen. And obviously touchscreens work a little bit better than mouse and keyboard and also a controller. So yeah, your accuracy is going to be far better on the Switch than any other system. And you can also add in Bejeweled 1 and 2. Now the game is totally worth 20 to 30 bucks. And there are kids that do not have cell phones. There's going to be people that are buying the Nintendo Switch Lite. How cool would it be to actually play Bejeweled all over again? Yes, there are spin-offs, and there are other variants of Bejeweled on the Switch already, but nothing holds a candle to Bejeweled. So if PopCap Games can actually get on the ball and put Bejeweled on the Switch, that would be amazing. I love Bejeweled, and I would totally support the game and buy it. So this is my list of 10 franchises EA should port over the Switch. Now we know that the EA CEO says it's kind of bad for business to put games on the Switch. Well, if you put watered down ports of FIFA, Unravel 2, which was originally not going to get Switch support, basically saying, screw you, Nintendo. But they got so much backlash from the community that eventually Unravel 2 got put on the Switch. And there's another game from EA on the Switch. We all know that EA hates the Switch. They hate Nintendo. We've seen the debacle from 2012, I think it was, when they made those launch titles. And the problem with Mass Effect 3 is that they didn't offer 1 and 2. And Madden Football, well, you have a PS4 and an Xbox One, or PS3 and Xbox 360, as I think the Wii U was first of the dance. But again, now that you can play a console portably, and the Wii U was definitely a failure from the get-go, only because you couldn't take that gamepad with you and play the games digitally. I think the Switch was definitely a successor to the Wii U, where you don't need the console in its form factor, and the discs were obviously really bad. But I think that EA is totally missing the ball on Nintendo Switch games, and it's unfortunate because there's a lot of potential with the Switch. And the longer that EA waits to actually release these games, the worse it's going to be. Now, you guys know me. I hate news articles because a lot of them are just bullcrap news, fake news, or news that is just very boring and not very well thought out. But this article caught my attention, and EA has a bad reason for not releasing more games on the Nintendo Switch. So, I didn't like the article, but the topic definitely caught my eye about not releasing games on the Switch. We've seen this problem with other companies. Now, Ubisoft has committed to actually publishing games on the Switch. And yeah, I'm going to eventually buy Assassin's Creed 3. I'm going to eventually buy Wolfenstein 2. And I probably won't buy Wolfenstein, the one that just came out on July 26th, because they're not offering a physical copy. I like to buy my games physical, so that kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't want the download-only approach as companies get cheap and don't put games out. But this is the list of 10 games that EA should put on the Switch. Again, honorable mention goes to Ultima, SimCity, and the Bard's Tale. I think those three were great series. I'd also like to see NHL get ported, but NHL doesn't even sell that well on PS4 and Xbox One, so highly doubt we'll see that. But if you like this video talking about the 10 series of platforms that EA needs to put on the Switch, please give this video a like rating, comment, subscribe. Share this video amongst your friends, and as a favorite, check out my other Nintendo Switch videos, playlists, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, which are all HollywoodShono. My Instagram, which is HollywoodShono's And let's hope at some point EA can stop putting games on phones and start putting them on the Switch. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, kids.
www.youtube.com/HollywoodShono. Subscribe, bitches!